Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Continental War Episode 3, and today we are going to have to sadly recapture our forward operating base, as in last turn, Xanos managed, by like the skin of his teeth and as me predicting that he would actually outflank my tank destroyers, managed to take our forward operating base. So before we continue our offensive into Aurelia, we will have to sadly retake our own forward operating base. But you will see how that goes as we start our turn launching 5 KE-6A Lances to go engage the current Aurelian air cover over our forward operating base. Now there's only 2 Aurelian fighters sitting at my airbase, so hopefully we will be able to take it over without losing much or even like one of these fighters, so we can maintain air superiority over the region next turn to make sure Aurelia has a much more difficulty taking the airbase. As we get into the air, we form up and begin to fly towards our own forward operating base and prepare to actually engage the Aurelian Air Force over there. Here we are as we see the 2 Aurelian fighters scrambling off my own forward operating base as they head up to around 4,000 meters to engage our own fighters. Now, after drawing the Aurelian fighters away from their anti-aircraft fire, we dive down on them from our higher altitude to give us hopefully an advantage in this first head-on as we unleash a fury of 20mm fire towards the OE-6A Typhoons, hoping to score a kill. Sadly, our hopes are not quite fulfilled as we fly by without scoring any direct hits on an Aurelian fighter, and a massive dogfight ensues. The Aurelian fighters here proving their worth to the Aurelian Air Force as they, we do get a few shots on, and we stick to this Aurelian fighter's tail, but just can't get an accurate shot. We can't pull enough lead to actually get a kill. Our roll rate is not high enough to actually, shoot the Aurelian fighter down. So we stick to its tail as we dive through the clouds. Still just, it can't shake us. We get onto its tail and it can't shake us, but it doesn't really help if we can't actually get guns onto it. And as I'm flying here, we watch that other Aurelian fighter actually finally get struck. This did take a little while for that other Aurelian fighter to get shot down. I get the best sense to actually switch to it and eject the pilot when I can, as it tumbles to the ground after having the wing stripped off from 20mm Shvaks. As we deploy his parachute, we also watch the other OE-6 get shot down as well, making this battle quite successful. We've shot down both of the Aurelian fighters and have not lost a single KE-6, quite luckily. And we deploy this Kerbal chute as well. They will both land safely as we watch our fighters swarm overhead, and this OE-6 crash into the ground quite satisfyingly. Now, with there not being all that much AA, as luckily I did actually destroy the supply truck last turn. I don't know how, but it was a really good idea to deploy it, as he was not able to deploy any emplacements. I get for some reason, the good sense to strafe this 20mm in place, or SPAA, as he moved it up here. It wasn't firing me at first, so I had to toggle the guard mode and it starts shooting right at me, so I have to pull some quite hard evasive maneuvers to not get shot down. And as we line up for another strafing run, don't really know what I was thinking here. I know I could have strafed out the SPAA, but the tanks, they are well armored quite strongly, so I was hoping I might be able to actually get some penetration. And we see here I do actually take out the 20mm SPAA as it blows up on the runway, covering the runway in debris. As we line up a strafing run on one of the Aurelian tanks, we do get some good shots on it, but it seems just to eat the shells. They do nothing. Try and fire on that one too. Horribly miss. As we line up for our second and last strafing run. After this, I do actually get the good sense that I'm not going to be able to destroy any of these tanks with the 20mm Shvaks mounted on these fighters. So after the strafing run, we get quite close to the tank actually. We fly right overhead, and we turn around and head back home. No, after not destroying a single one of those tanks in those strafing runs, we have to move up our own, which we see now just firing on the Aurelian tanks up at the forward operating base. This turn I brought in actually 2 different variants of the rocket that I deployed last turn. I brought in one KA-6A, which is identical to the ones I launched last turn, which were sadly destroyed by Aurelian aircraft last turn, as we actually see one of those Aurelian Pythons detonate on the runway, or, well, more of the forward operating base itself. But I have also decided to mount 2 of my KA-6s with low velocity 75mm instead of the high velocity on the A variant, mainly just to save points so I could launch some mobile AA at the base, at the forward operating base this turn to hopefully more welly defend it comparatively to last turn, as it was quite easily bombed out. Surprisingly, I actually do turn off the vessel labels here, so we're just moving in, taking a lot of 76mm fire. As we see here, a little funny thing with Burn Together, if you turn just slightly, all of your tanks following you just do this rocking thing, and with the treads being the way they are, they just flip out like that. So I get it all fixed up, vessel move around and rotate them back around, as we see another Python go up on the forward operating base. One of my tanks actually does have its treads destroyed, so we'll have to sit up on this hill firing without being able to move with the other two. But hopefully we will be able to kill those remaining Pythons. So we get our tanks formed back up and we start moving in. As we see this rocket right here takes a nasty hit to the front, just hoping it doesn't penetrate that front plate. It's quite sharply angled, not really too much of a slope, so those rounds might actually penetrate. As we, I don't know why I was in the cheat menu here, but okay. As we see here, we're still firing our 75mm rounds into the tanks, but we actually get into this little ridge. So our low velocity guns are able to actually fire over this ridge, dude, you know, because we can arc our shots. Comparatively to the 76mm that they have on the Pythons, they have a higher velocity, so they're actually not firing. They can't. As we watch here, our rounds are actually making it to the forward operating base, but these Pythons are unable to fire back. As we see here, that one goes up. Luckily, so we're down to only one tank we have to kill, and it's not even firing back at us. So this is looking to be quite an effective mission. We still have not lost a single tank, and this tank is bound to go up in no time, hopefully, as long as everything goes well. So moving in with these Aurelian, or these are Kalenia Mountains in the background, with that beautiful sunrise. It's quite nice, quite a nice view. As we see here, we fire around right into the cliff, not being able to fire over it, as we do crest the ridge and start opening fire again on the last remaining Python. I believe it does go up here soon. Yep, there you go. It's gone, as the KS6A takes another nasty hit to the front, thinning out the armor. And as we go and look at all of the enemy tanks, we could see they are absolutely destroyed. Basically nothing left. We do find a Aurelian pilot, which shot down our aircraft the last turn, and we you know, take him in quite respectfully. Or not. So, to defend my forward operating base this turn, we bring up our 3 remaining tanks, our 5 remaining fighters. We use 2 supply trucks to build a 3-inch emplacement, a 75mm anti-tank gun, and another one to build 2 25mm emplacements. We also use my remaining ground launches to launch 2 mobile AAs, a 3-inch and a 25mm. Hopefully this will be able to defend the forward operating base. Now moving to the northern fleet, which we have moved up 50 kilometers to get in range, get our aircraft in range of the Aurelian fleet also sitting in the north. We are now taking off a KE-8A regulator, our dive bomber, to hopefully go take out some of the ships, maybe one at least, or maybe even strike the carrier if we have a chance. They do have aircraft there, so it might be quite risky as we get off the deck and head on our way. As we get in range of the Aurelian fleet, the Aurelian dive bombers take off and prepare to intercept us as we line up our aircraft and prepare to start actually attacking the ships. Here you can see us lining up our first dive bombing run as the AA on those cruisers starts opening up on us. We're quite high up, so it is quite inaccurate, and there's no dedicated anti-aircraft support here, so the only thing I'm really scared of is the 3-inch guns on that carrier, and those enemy dive bombers actually coming up to intercept us. We do get hit here, and I dropped the bomb quite frantically because I was a little afraid, so it was probably gonna miss, and I don't know why I dropped it like that, to be 100% honest with you. We also see here, I do get struck by a 3-inch shell, and it splits the aircraft in half. So, a little bit of carelessness on my side, not evading, and all does get us killed. Here we see, after getting shot up by some dive bombers, both of our aircraft actually fall to trying dogfighting the Aurelian attackers. They seem to be much better aircraft at dogfighting than ours, more maneuverable, and it also seems like they have a higher top speed as their guns rip us apart. Now, I don't want this to be a complete fail. We're going to lose all of our attackers here. So I decided to take control of this aircraft. And even with it missing a wing, I head straight for the OUS Akira, one of the Aurelian cruisers, and I'm determined to take it out. We're taking a ton of 40mm anti-aircraft fire, and as I'm messing with the control surfaces to try and get this thing as controllable as I could possibly get it with it missing half a wing. As we just try and make it to that Aurelian cruiser, I know we're definitely going to lose this ship, but I at least want to get this bomb off and hopefully, just hopefully sink one of these cruisers. It would be great. After losing all of those fighters, I really just need to take one of these out. So we roll upside down and drop the bomb in this weird dive, and knowing the pilot won't survive if I don't eject him, I eject him now as the AA fire is very fierce. Deploy his parachute and he will survive as we watch that bomb slam between the deck and the superstructure of the cruiser and detonate the magazine. After I'm done taking the screenshot here, we do watch it as it slips below the waves, meaning we have sunk our first Aurelian ship of this whole war. And we switch here to this actual ship and watch that it's been absolutely decimated by that armor-piercing bomb and sinks below the waves. Now moving down to the south, we have formed up our 3 cruisers and prepared to actually possibly have the first naval engagement of all of the war, as an Aurelian fleet has formed also down in the south. They have 3 cruisers. It's quite formidable, so we actually, in response, launched our first battleship, the CSS Hyperion, an Exodus-class battleship, which boasts 9 12-inch batteries as its main armament, and 8 5-inch guns as long-range anti-aircraft fire. Also, for closer-range aircraft that might get somehow that might get close to it, it has 6 40mm guns on the superstructure there. This will go and bolster our southern fleet to hopefully prepare for a bigger engagement. Now, also in the south, heading to the island chain, I deploy a second supply truck to prepare for future plans. And that is the end of my turn. I do hope you all enjoyed. And me and Xenos have completely dropped our little schedule. We're just doing things as they become, suitable for us. So there will be no more schedule. It'll just be, we'll upload whenever we get the videos done, and we'll start recording and editing them when we have time. So Xenos' video should be coming out, I hope soon, but it might be a while, just letting you guys know. Well, I do hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you for the next turn.